America, let me tell you something. I am going to make you a promise. So start with the good news or the bad news? Start with the bad news. Things are going to get worse in America. They're going to. Here's the good news. We win in the end. The good news is freedom doesn't belong to us. It's his. We're just stewards of it. And as long as we're good stewards, get behind him, because he'll protect it, and he'll protect you. He will provide. We just have to be in a position to where God's not on our side. We have to be on his side, on his side. So I'm starting on a venture next year that I don't know where it's going to take me. I don't know where it's going to take you other than good places. But I'm asking, if you've ever given me an ounce of credibility, if you've ever trusted me on anything, I've never asked for your trust. I am on this one. Because it's hard for people to do things before they feel they absolutely have to. Please, trust me on this. Come with me. Downsize your life. Start to appreciate right now what you have. This is a preparation for what I'm planning for next year. Use Thanksgiving and Christmas to humble you, prepare you. Prepare yourself to celebrate Thanksgiving. Don't worry about whose house we're going to go to and who's going to cook and everything. Prepare yourself to be really, truly grateful and thankful. And then prepare yourself to be humble enough to say, man, I've been giving all of these gifts, and I see that I do have another chance. Christmas. Celebrate the holidays the way they were meant to be celebrated. Rabbi Daniel Lapin, he's the president of American Alliance for Jews and Christians. Keith Abloh is a psychiatrist, Fox News contributor, I should both say. They're not under oath, but they're both friends of mine. I'm just saying. They can deny it all they want, but that's the truth. And I'm glad you guys are here. Okay. Keith, you and I are working. You've been working with me on this project for a while. And let's start with gratitude.
Sure.
What is gratitude? Why is it important?
It's tremendously important because, in fact, gratitude allows you to bear witness to your life. You know, people don't tend to pause and think of their lives as they're written day by day, page by page. We tend to almost be visually watching it as a film. But in fact, if you slow down and you think, what in my life am I really grateful for? And you may have to invoke loss to do this, by the way. It's a little bit like breathing, gratitude. You don't notice the things in your life that you're really grateful for until there's not enough oxygen in the room.
Yeah. Right? I had a test. A doctor stuck something down my windpipe the other day, and he was like, it's only going to be 8 seconds. I just need 8 seconds. And he puts it down my windpipe. That's the longest 8 seconds of my life. And you can't breathe. Whoa! You appreciate it when you start to again.
Correct. And what you're asking people to do, to appreciate in advance.
Yeah, I know.
It's a journey.
Can it be done?
It can be done, because in fact people can bear witness to their own lives. They have to be free to do that. They have to be individuals. They have to know who they are. And then you can be thankful, because you can say, boy, thanks for another day on my journey, mine, nobody else's. Even if it's a tough day, it's your day tomorrow to fight again.
Rabbi, I want to talk to you a little bit about, because I'm not going to Wilmington. I'm going to get more. I think this is the secret of giving. You get more out of giving than you give.
Yes, of course.
I'm going to Wilmington because just the stories that I told tonight restore me, give me hope, know that good people really do exist, and this little town really does exist. It's not going to give up.
Makes you fall in love with America all over again.
But I want to make sure that that I don't appear and nobody else appears as we're giving this town charity, because we're not. I see it honestly as the end of It's a Wonderful Life, where everybody came and George was like, wow, I didn't think it mattered.
Yes.
We have to take a break, and when we come back, would you talk a little bit about the problem with charity, what it can turn into?
Yes, of course.
We'll do that next. Back with Keith Abloh. He's a psychiatrist and Fox News contributor. I feel like I should be laying down on a couch. And Rabbi Daniel Lapin of the American Alliance for Jews and Christians. Rabbi, I want to come to you because we're talking about gratitude and using the trilogy of holidays here.
Sure.
And humbling ourselves and becoming grateful, because if you separate thanks from giving, don't make it a compound word, giving.
Yes.
But giving has a dark side, possibly, to it. Explain.
Well, very easily, in the sense that the Torah depicts a blueprint for how the world really works. The way God built us is that it is very easy for us to corrode our souls. And receiving something for nothing is one of the surest ways of doing that. And so in a divine hierarchy of giving, the highest way of giving is to enable somebody to earn his own living. Because in so doing, you give him something much more valuable than merely an income. You give him his dignity.
Yeah.
Dignity and self-respect, precisely. And it's interesting that, again, in ancient Jewish wisdom, it is more important to give something to somebody who needs clothing than to someone who needs food. Because food is just merely physical survival. Clothing is spiritual dignity.
There's a problem that we see, and this is why Oprah didn't build her school in America. She built it over in Africa. And when I read an interview with her, I think it was Oprah, it may have been Gail, that said, there is a level of expectation in America. So there's not real gratitude. It turns, if you give, for instance, look at many, not all. I mean, I've worked at soup kitchens before. You can see the people who are have gratitude, and you can see it in their eyes.
Yes.
And then you can see the others that are just milking the system. There is something about being able to say, to say thank you, to give back. Explain, for instance, kids in Beverly Hills versus kids that are working on the farm in Oklahoma.
Yes, well, I sometimes think of what a sociologist would say arriving on this planet for the first time. Well, one thing he'd say for sure is that one of the worst government words ever introduced is the word entitlement. That was a really bad word. Another thing he'd notice is those two families you describe. And we'd say to him, well, look, you know, you've got this family in Beverly Hills where the children have one primary responsibility in life, and that's to accept the keys to a BMW on their 16th birthday. And then you've got another family in, shall we say, a small town in Ohio, perhaps,
Yeah,
where the children are expected to help, and they do chores around the house, and they ask mother and father if there's anything you need us for before we go out and play. You say to your sociologist, which family is going to have a better relationship with their children, right? Surely the one that asks nothing of their children and just gives them things. It's not like that. In the real world, receiving with no opportunity to reciprocate corrodes the soul. And so it's those children that have an opportunity to do chores, an opportunity to respect mother and father. They are taught to honor their father and mother. Those children love their parents more than the children who give nothing back.
When we go back, I'd like to actually bring Alan in on this one. When we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit because that's, in many ways, there are people that need to be helped, and there are people that need to be helped by our government that you know, individuals can't, et cetera, et cetera. But how do we know? Where is that line? Where do you have any idea? Maybe you have some idea of, is there a point? Is there something that happens to people? We'll get to that next. Now look at some never-before-seen footage with our studio audience that you won't see anywhere else. Take a look.
I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic and an addict.
Good for you.
So there are no coincidences in God's kingdom that we got tickets to be here today, having no idea. But, you know, it's like Alan said, you know, I gave my life to Christ. And, you know, you don't have to look back. You know, if God can restore you from where you were, he can take you where you need to go. And the word I keep hearing is just Jehovah Jireh, that God will provide. And in these economic times and in our society, that's the faith my wife and I walk in every day. That God will and can provide for our needs.
If you don't revisit and really leave the damaged relationships you've had in the past that may have fueled your alcohol dependence, that may have fueled other things, you can't move on. You'll reproduce it.
That's the problem that we have in our society right now. We are bailing everything out, and there is no break. That's why I've become more and more convinced that a mental revolution is the only answer for this country. You cannot evolve it out of this. There must be a mental revolution of, this is broken, and we must break from the past and reset ourselves.
Glenn, when you say a mental revolution, do you mean a spiritual mental? I mean, like putting those two together.
A change, a fundamental transformation of us
and it
as individuals.
Always involves pain. Always. Any revolution of spirit and mind involves pain because you are breaking with the past. Well, if you want to stay there, you'll drink. Or
how many of us are truly afraid for the future of our country, for our children? How many? I mean, or at least deeply, deeply concerned. I talked to a psychiatrist the other day, and he said, I mean, I wasn't paying him or anything. It was just a...
Well, why not?
But he was saying, for the first time in his career, and maybe you can say this, for the first time in his career, people are coming to him because they are deeply afraid of the future. They're saying, I don't see a future for our country. Have you seen that?
That's right. I've practiced now almost 20 years, and I can tell you, with people measuring their financial well-being and longevity and their hope in terms of months, I haven't seen that before. I haven't seen them weighing their self-esteem, saying, I don't know how many miles I can travel on this anymore. I'm a father, and I'm a guy who works.
Okay. Somebody give me one hopeful thing here. We got to end this for the... anybody have anything hopeful?
Absolutely.
One thing hopeful? William, yeah, you have one.
The thing I experienced in the past as far as hopefulness is when served a little bit in a ministry in downtown Atlanta for the homeless. And you go in, and if you humble yourself and serve others, the thankfulness that you have to them after you've experienced the relationship is incredible.
It is.
And you receive so much more than what you intend to give.
Yeah. Guys, real quick up here. Then I know, I'm getting the high side. Yes.
My family started an orphanage in Cambodia, and a couple of years ago I was given the opportunity to go, and one thing that I really learnt from these kids who actually don't have anything and yet they're so happy. We went there with a bunch of girls, and the one thing we learnt was we thought that we were going to make an impact when in fact they were the ones who made an impact on us.
I'm telling you though, the kids that have nothing, we have to find our way to that this Christmas. We have to find a way to find the road back to being happy on Christmas with maybe nothing under the tree, or one present, or maybe it's homemade, or whatever. All right. My final thoughts next. I want to thank you. I want to thank you so much for watching tonight. There's good stuff right around the corner. Gratitude is the key. From New York, good night, America.